Alright guys, let's continue in our journey on solubility and let's look at number 3 question. Alright, so in all we've been doing, number 3 says 9.8 gram of potassium triacylchlorate were added to 40 cm cube of water and heated to dissolve all the solid. As the solution cooled, dry crystals of potassium triacylchlorate started forming at 60 degrees Celsius. What is the solubility of the substance at 60 degrees Celsius? So let's solve. Step 1, we said continue in our step. Right, let's get the formula for solubility, right? Or let's get our parameters. Our mass there was giving us what? 9.8 gram, right? What else? Our volume was giving us what? 40 cm cube. Remember, it is in centimeter cube, right? Our volume is given in centimeter cube, right? So what about our molar mass? Right, our molar mass is what? Potassium triacylchlorate, right? And I told you how to do this. So it's going to be K plus Cl plus O3. That means K being 39, we have 39 plus chlorine, which is 35.5, right? And then plus oxygen, which is what? Our oxygen is 16, but we're having 16 times 3. That gives us 16 times 3, right? And then if we do the arithmetic sum of these, are going to have 122.5 grams per mole, right? These are all our parameters we're going to have. So how do we solve? We know that solubility, right, is mole over volume, right? But by stretching it further, I said we apply the formula of mass over molar mass times volume, right? And then I told you, I said that if the volume is given as cm cube, we multiply by what? By 1000, right? So this becomes the formula for our solubility, right? This is the formula we use for solubility to solve. Therefore, our solubility becomes what? Our mass, 9.8 grams. We have 9.8 times 1000 over what? Over our molar mass, which is 122.5 times what? Our volume. Our volume there is 40 in nation. We have 40. And so what do? We take the arithmetic sum of everything there. I wouldn't want to waste our time. So, but if you do this with your calculator, I believe we are going to end at 2 moles per dm cube. Very simple. So therefore, our solubility, say calculate the solubility of the substance at 60 degrees Celsius. Therefore, the solubility at 60 degrees Celsius, ability at 60 degrees Celsius is what? Is 2 moles per dm cube. That becomes the answer to the question on the board. I'm sure you understand what we just did. So take your time, try and go through them and see how they work, right? It's very simple. Solubility is mass over mole, and we also have solubility in what? A mass in gram per what? Per volume. Let's look at other questions as regards to solubility. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thank you. Alright guys, so here are 4 questions that are given in solubility, right, as regards to mole per dm cubes. Now guys, take your time, go through all 4 of them using the previous example to try and solve all 4 questions. That way you can get conversant with questions as regards to solubility. Now in the next video, we'll be looking at solubility of undissolved salt, right? Questions as regards to solubility of undissolved salt. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thank you. Alright guys, so let's look at questions as regards to mass of undissolved salt. Alright guys, so let's continue from a mass of undissolved salt. Now listen, in solving questions as regards to mass of undissolved salt, because our JAMB and WAEC normally give questions as regards to this, right? So it said, solving questions regarding to mass of undissolved salt, it is mass of the original salt. In this case, this one is given, right? You'll be given this one, the original salt. In the question, you'll be given the original salt. Our job is to find the mass of the dissolved salt, so that if we use the mass of the original salt, subtract it from the mass of dissolved salt that we calculate for, we'll get our mass of undissolved salt. It's that simple. Are we good? So how do we get the mass of the dissolved salt? It's simple. We use our formula for solubility. We know that solubility, right? Solubility is simply mass. It will be mass of dissolved salt mass of dissolved salt, right, over the what? Over the molar mass, molar mass, right, times what? Times our volume in what? In dm cube, right? And the volume is given in cm cube. What we simply do is to multiply by 1000. That's if the volume is given in cm cube, right? So our job is to isolate the mass of the dissolved salt from the equation. How do we isolate the mass of the dissolved salt? If we divide both sides, if we cross multiply, it's going to be our solubility. Let's use S as for solubility, times what? Times the molar mass times what? Times our volume, right, equal to what? Our mass of dissolved salt, let's just put it dissolved, right, mass of dissolved salt times 1000, right? Since we are looking for the value of the mass of dissolved salt, we divide both sides by 1000. Simply divide both sides by 1000, so that 1000 here will take out 1000 here. Thereby our mass of dissolved salt, our mass of dissolved, becomes what? Solubility times molar mass times volume over 1000. So solubility times molar mass times volume over what? Over 1000. That's how to get the value of the mass of the dissolved salt. So if we have the value of the mass of dissolved salt, we can simply subtract it from the original mass which was given in the question to get our mass of undissolved salt. So let's look at 2 or 3 questions as regards to solubility in relation of mass of undissolved salt. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thank you. Let's look at number 1 question. Right? It said water was added to 80 grams of a salt MCl2 to produce 60 centimeter of a saturated solution at 60 degrees Celsius. If the solubility of dissolved salt at 60 degrees Celsius is 8 mole per dm cube, that is 8 mole per dm cube, calculate the mass of undissolved salt. So this is what we're looking for, mass of undissolved salt. And we said that the mass of undissolved, right, this mass of undissolved is equal to mass given, right, minus what? Mass of dissolved salt. Right, so this is the sequence we said we're going to use, right? So here's what we're going to do. First of all, let's get mass of the given from the solubility, right? So we're given that solubility is equal to what? 8 mole per dm cube, right? What else was given? We have the given mass, that's mass given as 80 grams. What else was given? We have our volume. We're given our volume. Volume is there is what? As 60 cm cubed. So we know what to do, right? Is that all? We have our molar mass. Molar mass, that should be what? MCl2, right? And our M there is 24 plus Cl2, that should be 35.5 times 2. The arithmetic sum there will be 24 plus 71. What are we going to have? We're going to have 95, right? 95 grams per mole. Alright, that's what we're going to have our molar mass. So let's look for the mass of the water of the dissolved salt, right? In this case, let's look for mass of dissolved salt. So our mass of dissolved salt is what we're looking for. So how do we get the mass of dissolved? We know that solubility is take care of. That solubility is what? Mass over molar mass, right? Times our volume, yes, times 1000, because our volume is given in cm cube, right? So this is what we're looking for, mass of what? Dissolved salt. So what do we do from here? We can cross multiply. Here should be over 1. Therefore the solubility will multiply everything here. By doing that, we're going to have solubility times what? Our molar mass times what? Our volume equal to what? Mass times 1000, the mass of dissolved times 1000, right? And so what do we do? Like I told you in the previous video, we divide both sides by 1000, right? Divide both sides by 1000, so that 1000 here will take off 1000 here. Therefore, our mass of dissolved becomes what? It becomes our solubility times molar mass times volume over 1000, right? So what's our mass of dissolved? What's our solubility there? If you watch, solubility is 8, so we have 8 times what's our molar mass? Our molar mass is 95. Yes, we have it as 95 times our volume. What's our volume? Volume is 60, right? 60 over 1000. Now if you do this with your calculator, what are you going to get? Using your calculator to do the arithmetic sum, we're going to have 45.6 gram. Yeah, 45.6 gram. That's the mass of dissolved. Are we good? That's the mass of dissolved. How to get mass of dissolved? Using your calculator, we're going to get 45.6 gram. So then, how do we get our mass of undissolved? Our mass of undissolved, like we say, mass of undissolved is equals to mass of given. What are we giving? Given mass is 80 gram, right? Let's use mg minus what? Mass of dissolved. That becomes, what's our mg there? 80 gram minus what's our mass of undissolved? 45.6 gram. If you do that, what are we going to get? If you do 80 minus 45, we're going to get 34.6 gram or 34.4 gram, I believe so. Yes, 34. We're going to have 34.4 gram. That's the mass of undissolved. Very simple, right? So here we've solved, a mass of undissolved is 34.4 gram. Very simple, right? Just know that the mass of undissolved is the mass of the what? The dissolved minus what? Mass of undissolved is what? The mass of given minus mass of dissolved. So if you want to get the mass of undissolved, it's here in the question. We said mass of undissolved is equals to mass of given minus mass of dissolved. And we can get the mass of the dissolved from the question, the parameters of the question, having solved through, getting the mass of dissolved as 45.6. We now know the mass of dissolved is mass of given minus mass of what? Dissolved. A mass of given was 80 grams. Like, because from the question we had that our given mass was 80 grams. Subtract it from mass of dissolved, we're going to get 34.4 grams. So that's how to solve questions as regards to mass of undissolved. I'll give you one more question from JAMB and see how we can proceed from there. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thank you. Alright guys, so let's look at number 2 question. Quite similar with number 1. So I'm just giving you number 2 question so you can get conversant with how JAMB sets their questions as regard to mass of undissolved salts. So let's solve. It said water was added to 60 grams. So we have the given mass, we have our given mass, right? Our given mass as 60 gram, right, of XCl2. So our molar mass is XCl2, which is what? 29 plus 35.5 times 2. That becomes what? 100 grams per mole. Right? If you do your arithmetic sum, that's what you're going to get, right? What next? It said if the solubility of the salt is 6, so we have our solubility as what? 6 mole per dm cube, right? Calculate the mass of the salt that remains undissolved. We're given volume. Let's keep the volume part. We're given volume as what? As 20 cm cube. That means we're going to convert to what? To 1000. Multiply by 1000. We're looking for mass of undissolved, right? Mass of undissolved. That's what we're looking for, right? And we know how to get that formula, mass of undissolved. Alright, so let's get mass of dissolved first. So how do we get our mass of dissolved? We just demarcate here. We say solubility is what? Mass of dissolved over what? Molar mass times the what? Times the volume. Right, but since our volume is given in cm cube, we multiply by 1000, right, times 1000. So let's just impute our values. Our solubility was given as 6, which is 6 here. 6 is equal to the mass of dissolved, so we're looking for mass of dissolved times what? Times 1000 over what? Our molar mass. Our molar mass from here was given as 100 gram per mole. 100 times what? Our volume. Our volume is 20 cm3, right? So our volume there is 20. So we can say 20, take out 20, even 10 will take out 10 from here. What are we left with? We're left with 6 is equal to what? Our mass of dissolved. Mass of dissolved over what? Over our 1 times 2, right? Times 1, then we have 1 times 2 here. And we all know that if we do that, we're going to have 6 is equal to mass of dissolved over 1 times 2 is 2. If we cross multiply, 2 times 6 is equal to mass of dissolved. So our mass of dissolved is 2 times 6, which is 12 grams. That's the mass of dissolved, right? So if we're looking for mass of undissolved, let's use here our mass of undissolved. Our mass of undissolved is equal to mass of given minus what? Mass of dissolved, right? Mass of undissolved, mass of given, and we have our given mass at 60, right? Therefore it is 60 minus 12. That should be what? 48, right? So mass of undissolved is 48 grams. Simple as ABC. Very simple, right? So go through the question, see how they work. I believe when you're given these questions in JAMB, you can easily solve them. Right. In the next video, we'll be treating mass of saturated salt and mass of unsaturated salt. How do we know if the mass of the salt is saturated or unsaturated? I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thank you.